Hello, welcome to this your channel of the Eurofan. That's me. Malta continues with its path at the Junior Contest, in which it has been having mixed results. This time, the heartfelt and emotional proposal presented by Ramirez Chiverras during the contest of the year before last has captivated the audience. After placing 5th in the final ranking, encouraged by this great result, the Mediterranean country keeps its annual appointment with Junior Eurovision, looking to get soon its 3rd victory. For this, we will check out who has been the next child artist that has been in charge of representing the island nation on the main stage of Belize. Here we go. For today's episode, I'm going to review the Maltese entry for Junior Eurovision 2025, which has been represented by the singer Eliza Borg with the song I Believe. Before looking more into this proposal that apparently talks about belief and faith, clarifying that it is totally different from the Georgia proposal from 3 years ago, let's discover more about this talented girl that has made its debut as a child musical artist. Without further delay, let's move on with the review. We start as usual by reviewing her biography before experimenting her Eurovision adventure in the Caucasian country. Eliza is a Maltese singer. She is 12 years old and comes from the city of Naxa, located in the north of Malta Island. She learned to sing since she was very little by receiving classes from a vocal coach. Thereafter, she took classes in a musical academy where, in addition to improve her singing skills, she has been also learning to play some musical instruments, particularly flute and cello. And if it was not enough, she is also a very good dancer. Despite her young age, she has already participated in several musical festivals and singing competitions both in her native country and abroad, even winning some of them. Eliza herself has commented that her path has not been easy, as she has suffered of anxiety episodes. So in this sense, music has helped and is still helping her in controlling them in a better way, stating that singing is her way to do therapy. Musically speaking, she has preferences for many artists, but if there is one that she considers her idol, is Destiny Chukwunyere, winner of Junior Eurovision in 2015 during the edition held in Sofia, Bulgaria, and then also represented the country at Eurovision in 2020 and 2021, the latter one during the edition held in Rotterdam, Netherlands. She will have the opportunity to meet her in 2024 during one of the singing competitions in which she took part, being Destiny one of the judges in that competition. Although like can have many twists, sometimes the music world is little, especially in a country like Malta. She will not imagine that she will get to meet her idol again in another singing competition, in which also awaited her an opportunity like no other. Let's check out what was that about. Naturally, it will be thought that the Maltese public broadcaster would opt once again for another edition of Malta Junior Eurovision Song Contest, especially taking into account the great result achieved during the last edition. But then there was a change of plans. And it is because after announcing its participation in mid-June of last year, it was also confirmed the use of the second season of the Maltese version of The Voice Kids to select both the artist and the song that would represent the country in Georgia. The reasons of making this change of strategy by the broadcaster were not clear, but it was clear that this represents a closing phase in the path of a Mediterranean country, by now following the method already applied by many of the participating countries, opting for local adaptations of The Voice Kids. The submission period was open in the same moment of the announcement for the older child artists between 8 and 14 years old who wanted to participate in the popular singing competition, sending also an original song with their application that could be used as their entry with which they would represent the country at the junior contest in case of winning the competition, with Eliza being one of the selected contestants. As a curious fact, the original songs from the selected contestants were not revealed initially, opting in this case to reveal them in the moment of being performed by the finalists that were to reach the final show, which meant that some of the possible entries would not be heard on the final show. It comes especially to attention the group of coaches that was completely formed by former Eurovision participants. The already aforementioned Destiny Chukunyere, who was meeting Eliza again at the competition, to whom of course she picked as her coach, and the singers Gianluca Vecina and Sara Bonucci, who represented the country at Eurovision in 2013 and 2024 respectively. Curiously, both editions held in Malmö, Sweden. Eliza will easily advance through the different stages of the competition, getting on qualifying into the final show together with other 5 finalists. During that final show that was aired in Las Vegas, October, the finalists will compete in 2 rounds. In the first round, each finalist will perform against the song that each one performed during the blind auditions phase, in which 3 of them, one by each coach, would advance to the second round. Eliza performed the song Clang On by the British singer Emily Sandé once again, with which she not only managed to enter the competition but also helped her to advance to the second round. Then, during that second round, the remaining finalists will perform 2 songs, one in duet with their respective coach and then their original song, with the winner being chosen solely by the public. Eliza will perform with Destiny the song When You Believe by the American singers Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, and that is part of the soundtrack of the animated film The Prince of Egypt, and then her original song I Believe for the very first time. The titles of the original songs were not known in that moment, however, including hers. At the end of the show, the votes from the public will grant the victory to Eliza, thus being proclaimed the winner of that season and gaining subsequently the right to represent Malta on the main stage of Tbilisi. Eliza has expressed in her first moment feeling grateful for the experience, that it has been a dream come true for her, and that while she sees representing her country at the junior contest as a big responsibility, she is also very honored to do it. However, the song was still a mystery after winning the season, because while she performed it live, the song's title was still unknown. It was not until it was confirmed as her entry for Junior Eurovision that the song's title was finally known, releasing its official music video in early last November. A track in which her dreams come to life. Now I'm analyzing further on this proposal with which Eliza has made her debut as a child musical artist. Melodically speaking, it's about ballad, which is very reminiscent of the kind of songs that we will normally listen in any animated film from Disney Studios. It is to stand out in this case that when Eliza performed it for the very first time in the final show of the Boys Kids, it was noticed that it was a demo version of the track, judging by the instrumentation and the overall production that was not very polished. Following her victory, the track would go on to a revamp to improve the instrumentation and the arrangements until becoming the final version that she will perform at the junior contest. There were not any doubts of the vocal skills from Eliza after her time at the Boys Kids, and especially after having seen her performing her entry live, which also fits perfectly with the emotional and intense character transmitted with the track. The lyrics have been written fully in English by a group of Maltese songwriters, all of them with wide experience on composing entries for both Junior Eurovision and Eurovision. We are talking about the same trio that composed the winning song for Destiny in the competition of 2015, in which she was also playing as one of the songwriters, together with the renowned Maltese songwriters and producers Elton Soft and Matthew Marcieka. They also have participated together on composing entries for many child artists that have participated at the junior contest in the past, including the also winning song in 2013 performed by Gaia Kauchi during the competition held in Kiev, Ukraine. About the context behind the lyrics, it talks about the inner fight of a person with his own thoughts, confronting with his own doubts in that process of search of its own identity. Reading the lyrics with more detail, you can perceive in the verses how it is developed that fight she has with all those thoughts coming through their mind, which scare her and does not let her sleep at night until her imagination awakens thereafter, where her dreams suddenly come into life. Then many ideas are expressed during the chorus, like the desire of those moments to last forever. Her destiny that considers it is written on the stars, and the personal self-affirmation for what it comes eventually the song's title. It is clear that it intends to transmit an inspiring and hopeful message loaded with much optimism, not only by the fact of encouraging the people to have their own dreams, but going beyond that, emphasizing the belief at the value of oneself as as a person that follows its own way, despite the difficulties and the uncertainties that could come now in the purpose of making those dreams come true. Having seen more about the track, let's see then how they have opted to portray the contest described on it through the official music video. Right now I'm going to put on my earbuds to now watch and listen to this proposal presented by Eliza. So, playing in 3, 2, 1. We can see a city, a storm, and we realize that this is an animation. I guess this is Eliza. And we can see the real pictures here of Eliza winning the Boys Kids and also Destiny winning Junior Eurovision. A storm inside her room? And suddenly a lot of starlights going around her. The ceiling up and up and out to sing Aurora Borealis. There are sparkles and music notes. Now she starts to fly. She is single flying and above these star sparkles, those music notes and those Aurora Borealis, while some of the legs appear on the screen. Now she's singing on a stage with a large crowd. And star sparkles to end the music video. To be honest, I have my reservations about the production of this music video, because it's quite evident that it was fully produced by artificial intelligence. In fact, after the release of the music video, it sparked a huge controversy in the country, specifically from the community of the visual artists, in which many of them had issued an open letter to the broadcaster stating their full disappointment with the production of this music video, because they considered it undermines the local talent and also undermines their work in a cultural aspect. It is known that AI is now widely present in most of things in our lives. But given my personal opinion, I think that it's going beyond boundaries and now it feels abusive. But let me be clear with this. The problem are not the tools, the problem is the way that we are using them. Having said all this, the presentation of this music video has not been fine. Before the revamp that will be done to the track, Eliza had the opportunity to perform it for the very first time during the final show of The Boys Kids, as we already know. Let's recall then how it was the live performance from her during her first time at the singing competition. So playing in 3, 2, 1.
She lies awake, wondering, thinking about who she could be. And for a second, she can hardly breathe. The thoughts in the head, they scare her sometimes.
She looks very confident performing it.
The words they change, she sees flashing lights, and all of her dreams they come to life. Now she no longer wants to hide.
Ooh, what a voice from her!
Wish this moment lasts forever. Take a picture to remember, to believe.
This is what I'm talking about. This version of the song was not that polished in terms of the production and the instrumentation.
Then the words they change, I see flashing lights, and all of my dreams they come to life. Now I no longer wait.
It's not that different of the final version of the song, but you can notice the differences.
Wish this moment lasts forever. Take a picture to remember, to believe. Written in the stars forever, frozen like a cold December. So I believe. Yeah, I don't.
Now here comes the final part. Yeah, that was just amazing. She did it great. She already has the voice, she already has the presence, but the song needed certain adjustments, and that's why the revamp came eventually. There were no doubts that she would perform it without any issues when she steps at the Junior Contest stage. For the staging in release, Eliza was seen laying on a bed initially, naturally making a wink to the music video, and later singing on the stairs of the stage together with a group of girl dancers that joined her, according to what it could be seen during the first rehearsals. Both her and the girl dancers wear white dresses, although the one from Eliza stands out for having a pattern of stars in mosaic in a high relief. That can be noticed if you look at the dress more closely. The lighting is basic while the visual graphics fundamentally features starlights, again like the one seen during the music video. Watching her live performance at the Junior Contest, being in charge of opening the show by the way, it begins with shots from above of Eliza that is laying on the bed that is on the center of the stage while she performs the first verse, while there is imagery of a star outer space. In some point she gets out from the bed to go to the stairs of the stage, with the girl dancers joining her to perform some choreographies around her, while more starlights appear in the visual graphics. By the first chorus, some animated staffs are seen, while Eliza and the girl dancers approach the center of the stage, from which the bed initially seen has disappeared, with parts of the lyrics appearing often in golden letters. The dynamic remains pretty similar, with the girl dancers performing different choreographies, until the final chorus when there are spark columns while Eliza is having her final vocal extravaganza moments. Then the girl dancers regroup around her, her closing the performance with an explosion of starlights exactly in the same way like at the end of the music video. I consider that it has been a very good performance from Eliza. She was vocally perfect and I think that it has been a good choice to start the show. Taking into account that among all the ballads featured in the edition, this was one of the most dynamic ones. By the time of knowing about the results, Eliza will place initially 9th after the reveal of the votes from the jury, giving predictions that probably she could get a good result. But after knowing the televoting results, she will inexplicably place last for the public, which I could not understand at all. Then going down 2 spots to finally settle in the 11th place of the final ranking. Making a summary of all what I have commented so far, I like the Maltese entry for last year. I think that the proposal is pretty good in terms of the music and the composition of the track. The revamp elevated its quality much more by making it stand out in a good way, but I consider that its presentation with the music video has somewhat overshadowed it, due to the fact that most of the people were focused on the controversy already commented before. So I think that musical aspect of the proposal has been relegated to the background. The final result cannot be compared with the one gained during the last edition, being more modest this time. Although in my opinion she deserves to be higher in the ranking. It has been the public in this case who has undermined her possibilities to get a better result. But even so, I consider that she has defended her proposal pretty well. On talking about Eliza, she has very clear that she wants to keep studying and preparing herself as a musical artist after her time at Junior Eurovision, to the point of stating that this very first Eurovision experience is just a first step, as she has in mind when she becomes an adult to represent her country, this time in the senior edition. With this big goal in mind, it is pretty sure that we will keep having news from her for a long time. And maybe it is possible that, like her idol and coach Destiny did before, we see her giving everything on the Eurovision stage. This has been the Maltese proposal of last year for the Junior contest. What do you think about it? Do you think like me that she must have been higher in the ranking, or do you think that it was another one of the bunch? In any case, let me know your opinion in the comments down below, thus we can keep the discussion. And this is it for today's episode. With this, we've finished this series, having reviewed the 18 child artists that have participated in the edition that was held in Tbilisi. And I finish as usual inviting you to like this video, thus you can help me to spread it to more people, to subscribe to my channel, to enable notifications, and to follow me through my social media. Take care and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.